The Village of Westmont Planning and Zoning Commission special meeting for tonight, Wednesday, the 4th of February, 2026. And I'd like to have the roll call, please.
Commissioner Simpson?
Here.
Commissioner Thomas?
Here.
Commissioner Peterson is here. Commissioner Lynn?
Here.
Commissioner Donahue is absent this evening. Chairperson Carmichael?
Here. So we have a quorum, and we'll proceed. If everyone would like to stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And while everyone's still standing, anyone who testifies tonight has to be sworn in, so we swear that any and all testimony you give tonight will be the entire truth. So help you God. Thank you. A couple of reminders. Make sure, I guess mine's in the other room, it doesn't, that you have your phones on silent, and that anyone who testifies has to sign in either out in the hallway or at the podium. And a quick review of the public hearing procedures. Normally, we have the applicant comes and presents his or her petition, and it's followed by staff, and then the public, and then the commissioners. Tonight, we'll kind of start with staff and then bring the petitioner forward. Under approval of minutes, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of our 14 January meeting?
Motion.
Have a motion, Peterson.
Second.
Second, Simpson. Discussion, questions on those minutes? Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson votes yes. Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Chairperson Carmichael?
Yes. Okay. Those minutes are approved. Okay. Under old business, we're going to reopen the public hearing at this time for public hearing PZC 0162025. A request from Campagno LLC, the petitioner, and 2 Naperville Road, the owner, for the property at 306 North Cass, for the following. First, a preliminary plan of subdivision to consolidate 5 lots into 1. Second, zoning ordinance variance to the minimum front yard setback in the R4 General Business District. Third, zoning ordinance variance to the minimum lot area per dwelling unit in the R4 General Residence District. Fourth, zoning ordinance variance to the minimum outdoor open space in the R4 General Residence District. And fifth, a site plan approval, a major site plan approval. We're going to combine this with the first item under new business, so I will reopen the public hearing for this as well.
Well, that's a new public hearing, so yeah, you're not reopening it, you're just opening it for the first time.
All right, you're right, okay. We'll open the public hearing on the new business, and then we will discuss both the old business and this first item and the new business together. They will be voted on separately. And there's a second item of new business that is public PZC 001-2026 on a zoning ordinance text amendment.
Did you read the
I will.
item of new business?
Okay.
The first item of new business.
Okay, and this first item of new business that we're going to cover is 0162025, requests from Campagno LLC, the petitioner, and 2 Naperville Road LLC, the owner, for this property at 306 North Cass, for the following. It's a zoning ordinance map amendment to rezone 3 of the 5 total parcels of the subject property from R3 single unit residential to R4 general residential district, so that all of these parcels in the proposed development are uniformly zoned. Is that clear? Staff, would you
Yes, thank you, Chair.
start us off?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just so the public understands, there's a lot of information all at once, some legality that we had to go through. So this proposal is at 306 North Cass. The property consists of 5 lots, 5 parcels of land with 1 address attributed to all of them. So we had a meeting prior on January 14th to discuss 5 of those items that the chair just listed. And this additional request for the rezoning of 3 of the 5 parcels is due to the parcels, 3 of the parcels on the rear of this property are actually zoned separately from the other 2 parcels in the front. So this request now includes in discussion of that additional item. That additional item was not in the original public notice in the paper, and that's why we are having the special meeting tonight, so that can be included in the discussion. So we're able to discuss all items through this public hearing, and each item will be voted on separately. Related to just the rezonings, I'm not going to talk a lot about the case, the other items in the case, but I do want to talk about the rezoning since I didn't get the chance to do so at the last meeting. This property is, as mentioned, is split zone. So the rear 3 parcels are zoned R3. And if I can have the computer shown on the screen, that might help visually. There we go, maybe. Give it a second. There it is. Okay, so there's, as you can see on the screen, there's 5 parcels here, kind of trapezoidal shape. There's 3 parcels in the rear that are zoned R3 for single-family development that don't have access, any actual access to a street. And then there's 2 parcels in the front that are zoned R4. This rezoning request is in relation to the 3 parcels that are on the rear to become R4, so that the other requests can correspondingly be voted on. The land here, as I noted, is not directly attached to a street, these 3 parcels, so they don't have actual access to be developed on as it stands right now, unless they're consolidated into another property that has direct access to a right-of-way per our zoning ordinance requirements for access. Staff does believe that the best opportunity for these to be developed is to be consolidated into the property at 306 and those attributed pins in a consolidation effort. As the history on this property, these 3 pins and then also a driveway that was on the northern pin at 306 were attributed to a single-family home that was demolished years ago, and it was used as basically a rear yard for them, or their backyard for them to accommodate a patio and some other items. That has now been demolished and attributed to the other requests for consolidation. We cannot allow split zoning of a property. So if a consolidation is to take place, these would have to be rezoned, and that's how we got here tonight for that request. I will also mention that since this is a continuation of an item, the commission provided the applicant with recommendations and revisions, and the applicant has provided revisions that should be in your packet tonight. He will also present those revisions. There will likely be some options given for the commission to look at and provide some feedback on which ones is preferred during the discussion phase. Anything that is not shown on the plans that were provided, I would ask that conditions are placed on the approval attributed to allowing whatever the revisions that the commission feels are necessary to forward to the village board ultimately for a final vote. At this point, I will have the developer come up and speak and go through some of those revisions, and then we can have discussions, and I'm open for questions and comments after that.
Okay. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for having me back. How do
You're good. Can we switch to the, oh, yeah, there we go. And then do you want to go to present?
And for the camera, would you introduce yourself as well?
I think Hi, Michael Gatto on behalf of Campagno LLC, the contract purchaser and presenter of the development. Thank you for hearing me again. We changed the presentation to include what we could in the amount of time that we had since the last meeting. I'll scroll down to highlight the follow-up requests. You requested images of past projects with similar features. We included that in there. We peeled one that we thought was commensurate for this product. Outdoor space and fence, you asked us to take a look at that on the Cass Avenue side of the project in relation to Mrs. T's. Visitor parking and designating a spot as visitor parking. Facade updates, specifically the windows on the eastern boundary. The building height and making sure that we could achieve the 10-foot floor-to-floor clear height. And then the balcony railing systems. I'm going to jump around a little bit out of order. North and east elevations I have posted on the screen. We did take a look at the elevations and the floor structures. Thank you very much, Commissioner, for the heads up. We are able to achieve the 10-foot floor-to-floor clear height and still meet the 35 feet and under requirement.
Yeah, well,
Here's a second picture of that. Also on here, as you can see, we have the windows that have been expanded in footprint. So not only did we do the east elevation, but we did the entire building all the way around. The exterior fencing along the perimeter on the eastern side along the Cass Avenue, I couldn't get the updated plans in time for this hearing, but we went ahead and did an artistic rendering of some options that we felt were potential suitors to help soften the fence line as we saw it. The first is a green fence. So some sort of wrought iron-esque aluminum fencing with either an English ivy or Boston ivy. I forget which one is the non-invasive of the two species along that fence line. And then number two is a muted hedgerow along the front of the property. So we have two options there that we can talk about. And then in addition to that, we also pulled up two different balcony or patio railing styles. The first on this screen is just a traditional vertical railing system, and the second is more of a cross-hatched, less transparent product.
How tall is that one?
I believe they're all going to, for the front of the property or for the railings?
The one on the right?
The railings.
So I believe the code's 42 inches high minimum for a railing system, so we'll stay at the code requirement.
I had the photograph.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a perspective thing on the picture rather than the reality of it. And these are just concepts. The actual implementation would be slightly different because I'd probably do all black railings too without the white.
Okay.
And the contrast. So the conceptual paneling here where there's less transparency is, I think, the goal for the patio railings that I just wanted to show as an alternative.
Okay.
Any more questions on those railings? And then a similar project, this picture is a little step back. I don't know if you guys can see it very well, but the first floor we did a tile application. And that's really what I wanted to highlight here because I think that is what we were discussing last time was what are we going to clad the building in on that first floor as far as that product. And this is, we just did this building, I think we finished this in 2024, late 23, early 24. And it really came out nice. It's a beautiful building. We're very proud of it. I think the relief on the building, we would have liked it to be a little bit more stepped in or delineated, but Brookfield, Illinois, that's what they wanted. And I'm not fighting City Hall, so that's what they got. But this is an example of what we're doing on the first floor, or proposing to do on the first floor. Here, go back up to the exterior facades. And then as far as, hold on, let me get back to here. So we covered past project, outdoor space, the visitor parking. I talked to the management company and everybody in there, and I think they are hesitant to put in a designated visitor parking because of the management of that visitor space and utilization. How are we going to implement time restrictions, all these different things. So they prefer not to do it, not that we can't, the preference is not. And I think I've covered everything from the last meeting. Is there anything else you guys want me to cover since we're kind of a hybrid meeting right now?
No.
Oh, I do.
Okay.
Oh, were you going to call
Well,
commissioners?
we'll do it later. Wait, you want to do that right now?
Let's have the public speak, and then
Yes.
we'll go to
Yeah.
discussion.
Okay. Okay.
Let's go to staff. You want to?
I will. Yeah, I can touch on a few things before we move ahead, just so we can discuss the project in its entirety as well. Make sure I have the correct papers open. So for the residents that are here tonight and that might be viewing online, this project is a multi-family, multi-unit building with 12 units proposed at 3 stories. It is, even with the extension of the building height shown here, they're still under the requirement in that district of 35 feet. The apparatus is on top of that building, including the penthouse that houses mechanical equipment, and the parapet wall that's around that to screen any equipment on the roof is exempt from that height restriction, just so screening can be provided. The underlying district and the proposed district for those 3 parcels, multi-unit is a multi-residential project is a by right use in that district. Now, that doesn't mean any project can be approved that's multi-unit. They would normally have to meet the minimum standards for density and everything like that. In this case, there are a few items that the petitioner is requesting relief from, citing the topography of the area and its orientation near the village's central business district in the downtown. And those include a reduction of the minimum front yard setback in the R4 district that has not changed from the previous previous plans presented. A minimum or a zoning ordinance variance to the minimum lot area per dwelling unit, that is your density, and then the minimum outdoor open space requirement in the R4 district, as the normally balconies would cover that requirement, but in the R4 district we have a bit higher requirement at 250 square feet per unit, and with some of the required landscaping that we would like there based on the plans provided, we have to discount the landscaping in that minimum outdoor space requirement because it's not usable open space, because you can't sit in the shrubs well, I guess you could, but we'd advise against it. So the last item that is under review is the major site plan approval, and that is because the building size and the other requests require that planning and zoning makes a recommendation to the village board, and the village board would need to approve the site plan in its entirety. I will also mention that the developer provided some options. As I stated before, if options are determined by the commission on a preference, I would ask that's placed as a condition, so that can be forwarded to the village board if it's a positive vote. The other thing I do want to mention is you saw staff does have some preference to what was shown. So for example, there was ivy shown on a fence for one of the options. Staff does not prefer that option because of maintenance. Ivy tends to be a common complaint through code enforcement for being overgrown and not maintained very well, especially when you get really close to those property lines where the fence is currently proposed. An option of a hedge/fence or a hedge on its own or a fence on its own is preferred. And then I will also mention, because of the extended height of this building and the topography going north on Cass, there's a pretty steep grade change coming north on Cass. So staff does recommend that the materials extend to the foundation a bit more for an exposed foundation, so that at least a foot of the foundation can be shown, but no more would be the recommendation from staff. That would be in compliance with some of our downtown zoning requirements or guidelines, design guidelines in the downtown. Technically, this building's not in the downtown, but it's one of those gateway buildings, so we try to make it look a bit prettier.
Do you know how much drop-off there is currently, bit from the north to the south side of the?
Yeah, I think it's about 2 to 3 feet from one side of the property to the other corner, down Cass. Where the building's located here, it's probably a foot or two.
So, and you want to keep that at no
more than a foot.
More than 12 inches or
Yeah,
a foot?
exactly. And what that would mean is just extending some of the material a bit more on the foundation, or something that matches the materials. So there's an exposed foundation that's over that height. But that's just a recommendation.
Okay.
And then I'm happy to answer questions as we go through.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the commission on this agenda item? Good evening, sir.
If we can have the overhead projector turned on, please.
Would I place it on here?
Yeah. Flip it over. Let me put it right here, actually. And then it'll show up. There you go.
My name is Rick Dare. I own the property at 310 North Cass. For the last 25 years, it did not look this good when we bought it. And I'm concerned about what's going to be on the, next to the house by these buildings. Are there going to be fences or bushes? I haven't really seen too much on that. I would hate the public to be denied that beautiful view.
Excuse me, your concern is what would be on the south side of your house?
Yes.
On the north side of the driveway, or the north side of this
bushes,
property?
Trees, and what kind of distance between our property and the new construction. Is there like an artist's rendering of finished product with showing landscaping and nothing like a 3D color?
No, I do not have a 3D of the site plan.
Could you whip one up? Could you whip one up?
Give me 10 minutes in ChatGPT.
So that's really all I'm concerned about. I just want to see what's going to be on the south side of my house.
Okay, well, thank you for that, and we'll make sure that the developer responds to that.
One question? Yeah. Neighbor?
Sir?
Can I ask him a question?
He wants to know if he can ask the neighbor a question to get some clarification.
Oh, certainly. Would you come back to the podium, sir? And we'd like to interrogate you.
No, sir, do you live at the property immediately north of this proposed project?
It's a rental house.
But that's what I'm saying. You're adjacent to this project?
Yes, it's the next house north
Okay.
of what's now a vacant lot.
Just for some clarification, the north-facing fence line, whatever type of fence that would be between your building and the applicant's proposed building, do you have a particular preference, if there is a fence, of whether you'd prefer see-through versus solid? And I understand you want to be able to show kind of what you've done to the home. The reason why I'm asking this question is because I would imagine at some point there's going to be a garbage truck that's getting garbage on their property, and that fence may serve as a buffer so that you don't see the
I
cars
think we
going
would
in
want
and
that
out.
wall to be solid.
You'd prefer the wall to be solid as opposed to like what we saw in the front
And I
where it's
just wondered,
see-through?
would it go out to the sidewalk, or it will be there'll be a gap between the sidewalk and the construction?
I think staff can answer that.
Yes, I'm pulling up the site plan so I don't speak out of turn. Give me 1 second. I believe we were having the fence end, and I don't have the exact foot. The solid fence would end basically where the parking lot ends on the property. So I'll point for it just so you can see. It's about right here is where the solid fence would end. And there's no fence proposed here, just hedges.
Oh, but my house is here though, right?
Your house is to
No.
Oh. Okay, I'm turned around. All right, I got it. All right, I'm turned around. Could you say it again then?
Yeah,
I was
so
looking at it wrong. Yeah.
the fence would end right about here, the solid fence.
Yeah.
Our code, sorry, I'll speak into the mic, so my planner who does the minutes can hear me. So our code only requires that the parking lot is screened properly with a solid fence and landscaping. The drive aisle there does not need to be screened with a solid material. They're welcome to do a smaller fence there, or we only want to see landscaping for the most part. And that is largely so somebody's front yard is not fenced in. We normally don't like fenced in front yards for single-family homes, so that they have visibility when they're coming out of their driveway mostly.
Can you show us where Mr. Dare's house is in relation to that north side of the property? How far east and west?
Yes.
Good.
If we can pull up the overhead again.
Oh,
There we go. So the house is right here.
okay, okay.
Okay.
The fence would end right about here. You can kind of see it on the plans.
Uh-huh.
Then what's in the other half of the
Look, I would personally, I would.
Going this way?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have landscaping screening
His house is pretty.
Is that
As
basically
shown
a
here.
parking lot down there?
to the south,
Yeah.
or sorry, west, yes.
Like here.
It's not a parking lot, sir.
No,
It's a
this
drive,
is
it's
the
a
building.
drive-through.
What? Okay.
That's
The parking's on the west side of the building.
drive
Maybe flat.
parking lot.
Gotcha.
This is the
Right, and then do maybe see through or hedges.
engineering plans.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Certainly. Okay, back to staff.
public.
Well, again, is there anyone else from the public that, seeing none?
Oh, wait, I
Then-
think that, wait.
Oh, ma'am. I'm sorry, I didn't,
I'm new to the game here, I've missed out on these other meetings. I was just reading online and this morning when I was having...
would you give us your name and
My
address?
name's Laurel Rugen, I live at 513 North Grant Street. And I'm like, why another apartment building? This community has so many, and why such a large amount of them shoehorned in at an intersection, which is gonna really make it more difficult? I don't understand. Plus, that gentleman, seeing how tall, I mean, seeing the other building he had in Brookfield, the way that building towered over, I noticed the little house that has been there for many years next to it, and it's gonna be the same thing, towering over the restaurant, towering over the homes. Some of these, it's, to me, they're eyesores. I mean, why do they have to be so huge? That's all. It's just, another apartment building? I don't know. Okay, thank you.
Well, and thank you for coming forward. Okay, let's go to the commissioners. Michael?
Up again.
Yeah, thank you for coming back again this evening, and thank you for revising your drawings. I had to be a bit frank, is that I'm kind of not satisfied with the rendering, both the rendering and the example photo that you showed of the property in Brookfield. Can you also tell me what the address is of that property in Brookfield?
3727 Sunnyside Avenue in Brookfield, Illinois.
Okay, that's not on a prominent corner or street, correct?
No, it is not.
Right. So like let me see, and then I mean, I could point out some things about that I wasn't kind of pleased about. Of course, I'm getting into more aesthetics, which I don't know if that's within our purview or not, but what maybe one question I have is, do you have anything planned for like the underside of the balconies? Are they wood framed?
They are wood framed. They have rooftops over them, so we could do something different there, either with soffit fascia and enclose them if.
The underside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, and your,
I prefer not to, obviously, but in spray and black, but we can definitely cover them if that's a want or a wish.
I'm just imagining people on Cass Avenue, and especially with the grade height is high, I think higher in your property than Cass Avenue, and it being 3 floors, you're gonna see the undersides of the balcony much more. I think we've all seen residential balconies that are wood framed, and it looks pretty tacky underneath just to see the treated floor joists that are very, very open and exposed, and they kind of weather over time. So that's where I'm thinking, like to clad. Of course, I understand that like water will have to pass through it, or at least I'm just guessing that. But to be clad with a material that's kind of more of exterior grade in a way, I don't think. I'll let you and your architect to kind of determine what type of material, but that's one of my concerns is that you'll look up and you'll see the underside of open floor joist and then joist hangers, and I don't think it will look very good at all. But a comment I have too is that I think you made the windows a bit bigger, like on the east elevation. Did you? Like,
Yes.
you know, the way that you've shown this is that. And I don't think your Brookfield picture kind of was much different, but that there were just white double hung windows, and there's even. Were you planning to put grills in the windows too?
No.
No grills?
No.
Okay, so that's just like the grills that were shown on the drawing.
I think we can. Now, are we locked into grills in the windows, whether we
I know.
approved on that or not? Because I just want to make sure.
May I clarify? Are you speaking about bars in the window for safety, or okay?
No.
I'm
Just talking about the residential look of a
right. I just.
window.
I know I'm talking about sometimes aesthetic things, and I don't know if I can or should, but like you could tell me if I should shush up maybe in regards to like the aesthetics, but there was just that and a few other things. Like say, as far as the residential grills, I just thought that like that's what I see, like those kind of plus signs in each of the window sashes. I mean, it doesn't seem to match like what seems to be a little more contemporary style for the rest of the building. Also, your picture of the house, the building in Brookfield, those are just white double hung windows. Anyway, there's a few things about the quality of materials that I'm questioning.
I'll say this about windows, because you asked.
I know.
I think that's something, you put something there for illustrative purposes only. It's not your final design. And usually leeway is given to a developer for things, certain design elements, like what are the window panes and sashes and stuff going to look like.
Sure.
And it's more the brick and mortar of the building, whether you want limestone elements or something like that to make it more aesthetically pleasing if it looks like a cinder block building, that this commission has gotten into before.
Your picture of the building in Brookfield, I know that the resolution was really poor. I couldn't see what the tile material was, so I couldn't really make a judgment off of the photo that you showed. You mentioned a floor-to-floor height of 10 feet, but it's actually on your drawing it's 11'6", right? When you say 10 foot, are you talking about floor to ceiling and not floor to floor?
Yeah, the clear height of the floor to the ceiling itself.
Is 10 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. So let me see. The material on the outside could probably, is it like that tile material? Is it kind of applied similarly to like siding and things, or no?
So there's two ways to do it. We can either put some sort of cement board on the exterior or like a hardy backer and clad it, and then actually apply it as a tile with a like an epoxy, the care epoxy outdoor tile, like a pool tile glue type of thing, or we can do a Z-channel system and actually place it in there.
Tile systems, there's a lot of different types of new materials. Tile systems traditionally, or for years, don't really hold up in our climate. That you freeze, water will get behind the tile, freeze and thaw, and will they'll pop off. Like so, I hope you're just aware of that. And are the materials you're thinking about, are they time tested? Have they been used in in our climate for a good 10 years without any issues?
That's a good question. I don't know. They are outdoor rated tiles. I don't know specifically past that, but we are buying them through a tile distributor, not a Home Depot or big box. So they are a outdoor rated tile for the exterior.
Yeah, I hope that the system is outdoor rated, not just the tile itself, because like the tile might hold up after it's popped off. Do you know what I mean? So I hope that the system of that and the whatever adhesive it is to the structure. So I hope that all of it together is that we're not driving down Cass in 10 years and seeing missing bits of tile coming off the building. But let me see. On the corner. Let me see. On the corner of of Mrs. T's, there's a nice stone retaining wall because the Mrs. T's property is up higher compared to the intersection of Cass and Chicago Avenue.
Commissioner Lynn, can I jump in really quick? I have a picture of it, so I can
Thank you.
show the commission.
I'm glad you did.
If we can move to my computer really quick. Hopefully everybody can see that. So that's a picture looking north from the property at the south end of 306 North Cass at Mrs. T's. You, as Commissioner Lynn mentioned, you can see some of the retaining wall with landscaping. We did look, it's about 1.5 feet from the property line.
Okay.
Let me just zoom in.
Yeah, if you're able to.
I will try.
Yeah, I think, because I see the plus on it. There you go. You just pan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good?
Yep.
Go ahead, Commissioner Lynn, sorry.
So maybe two things with this photos. One is that there's like a retaining wall that I think was nicely done on the foreground there at the bottom of the screen, and it helps kind of the transition of the higher grade at Mrs. T's to the lower grade of the sidewalk. Is there any bit of retaining wall similar retaining wall needed or thought of between your property line and the sidewalk?
No, we don't need one.
No? Okay.
There's a significant, I think it's 10-foot setback from that side property line.
Whereas Mrs. T's had less, I
Yes,
assume?
they're much, much closer.
Yeah, well, Mrs. T's looks like it's maybe about 7 feet back, yeah. And then I know we discussed last time was, I still like the idea of like your fence to be in plane with the front, that facade there of Mrs. T's. I understand that you only have so much open space available to work with, so I still would prefer the fence to be like in line with the front facade of Mrs. T's and not any closer to the sidewalk, which, as I was kind of just guessing, was about 7 feet back from the property line. But
Would you prefer a landscape version instead of the?
yeah, maybe. Yeah. I have a feeling that for your residents, it'll be even more of a useless space then, but like, because then they probably can't have dogs wander around inside it, right? But
Well, it's an open fenced area anyway. So I think regardless of the pets,
Okay.
the landscaping to do that hedge row.
If we can switch to the
Oh, sorry.
presenter computer. Thank you.
Yeah,
We're going to have trees along this line too, so artistic creativity here. But instead of a fence, if we did low-lying shrubbery, I've got a no over here.
No,
yeah, I'm personally, I'm okay with shrubbery being used, like with, like, yeah, I guess I'm in favor of more, of shrubs being used, I guess.
And does that soften the image or the concept to you from the setback because it's not a 4-foot-high fence? Is that I'm trying to understand the thought process. Does this satisfy your wish to have it pushed back, even though I can't push it back because of the usable space?
Yeah.
Is this a softened approach to hybrid?
To me, yeah, that's a softened approach for it to be, I almost want to do, yeah, shrubs, but maybe not necessarily 1.5 foot tall shrubs. I'd like them to almost be a bit taller, but, yeah, anyway, so yeah, if that answers your questions, yeah, I'm personally okay with shrubs taking the place of fence on your east facade, but that's me, so. Yeah, like I said, I know you showed your picture of the property in Brookfield, which might be a little bit more passable, I think, on a side street or so. Like, but this is a very prominent corner, and of course we're like I would think that not just me, but I think a lot of us are a little bit more touchy about what quality construction is going in.
Yeah, and the only portion of that image that we're talking about was that first floor tile. And as you can tell, it kind of just blends in as one monolithic, structure down there, which is what I was trying to convey. The rest of the building, we can change that on the exterior facade because we're doing hardy panel system here instead of the LP that we did there.
Hardy and LP are pretty interchangeable. Like they're on par almost. Like both. I thought. Like, I know that Hardy is a cementitious, whereas the LP isn't. But they're both on par with each other, right? That's how I always see.
I think they're slightly different, but okay. I think the sheet good version of it, LP doesn't come in a sheet good the same way that Hardy does. So I can get longer lengths of bulk as opposed to LP where it's lap siding. Okay, so that's where I'm going with that one, not necessarily.
Okay. Yeah, like it'd almost be nice, yeah, to see pictures of what you're talking about. But can you pull up that Brookfield photo again?
Sure.
See, I see the same. Okay, so that was siding, and for this one, for this property is not siding?
Yeah, this is LP lap siding.
Okay.
Done in a flat panel on a rain screen. This one would be a Hardy sheet good, 4x8 sheet cut into the pattern that we have depicted on there.
With just cleats on the 4x8s? Like you're...
Yes, we'd have the U channel sitting in between with a reveal on it.
With the reveal, not like board and batten where it's at like a 1.
No, we'd have the metal channel in between.
Okay.
Because we need some reveal here, but we want to stay modern. So I don't want to do board and batten because I don't think that's the appropriate look for a building like this on that corner.
Thank you. That does make me feel a bit better.
Similar to the residential windows, I think that the board and batten definitely doesn't fit here.
Okay, yeah. Again, the windows in Brookfield, they look like to me that they're matching the windows on this. Can you tell me some comforting, like are you gonna do different windows compared to Brookfield or no?
They're Lindsay vinyl windows. They're a brand name vinyl window, the energy efficiency rating. We're going to do something similar here. If you would like to see a casement window instead of double hungs, we can definitely do that too.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't think I think double hungs kind of are more affiliated with more of a traditional style, like more of like the siding. So, All right, and then, like I said about the balcony, but anyway, thank you for bringing in this photo. It does help for our conversation, but it would have been nice to see a higher resolution maybe, or a physical sample brought in. But I understand that this is the meeting now, so. Those are my questions for now, so thank you. So.
And Commissioner Lynn, I want to make sure you heard what Mr. Gatto said earlier on the windows. You had requested upgrading or making larger windows on the east facade, and he said that they're going with that window all the way around the building.
Yeah.
And it sounded like you didn't hear that.
No, I'm thankful that they made the windows bigger. I don't know if I almost want like I think double hung is a very traditional look, and it doesn't suit the rest of the style of the building. I would almost opt for a casement. I don't know if that's in our purview of Planning and Zoning Commission, but you guys could tell me if that is.
Usually window styles, not so much.
We normally don't have it called out on the elevations for window style. We take a general look on size of windows, but when they get to permitting, if approved and get to permitting, they have some more leeway because we don't usually call out the exact type of window on elevations. But we do lock in all of the materials on the elevation shown.
Yeah.
Commissioner Simpson.
Yeah. First off, thank you on the floor height. I saw that. We caught that. That's great. I think that's what we're looking for. And I think what Commissioner Lynn, I think, wants to touch on, without getting into design, right? We definitely want to make sure that we're about entitlements here. So the viewpoint is our concern, okay, we've got this new code. We potentially have a new plan. I, at least personally, see this as the cornerstone of heading southbound into the downtown area, that you're going to be the new building there. And Mrs. T did a great renovation as well, and hopefully this, spreads right across the street where on the northeast corner over there. I think the main concern is what people see as they're going northbound and southbound on that thoroughfare. And so that was what the reasoning for the enlarged windows, the higher floor heights. You're in a weird spot with, I have no problem with almost all the entitlements, all of the requests or variances you're doing. I understand. You're kind of given this shape and there's nothing you can do about it. So there's just a couple things that came to mind that I wanted to at least draw to the commission's attention and see if the neighbor immediately north adjacent, the gentleman who's here with us, I don't know if we should stop the fence on the north elevation at the garbage. Perhaps we should continue it to the front of his house and then stop it from that point. Now, you can't really see it when you're looking from Chicago Avenue northbound because the building is kind of going to block it. So you'll still be able to see his landscape in the front of the house. Again, it's a little bit feeding into the design viewpoint, so I don't want to belabor it, but then heading southbound, there is going to be this view then of it's open and then there's this fence. So it doesn't necessarily make sense of why the fence will stop where it does if you're heading southbound, because it's kind of looking like, why did it come out and it doesn't coincide with the building? But it is going to coincide with his building, and I do think that unless you have something that you're really against, I think it'll be a de minimis impact in terms of cost or doing. And unless someone tells me that this is going to look terrible design, I think it's a minor request or condition we can add in to both accommodate the neighbor to the north, keep that view of all the landscaping there, and also maybe shield his house more in case there is some vehicle traffic.
I don't personally have any issue with that. It's a few more fence panels. I mean, we're not talking about, monumental changes here. But I think I was kind of directed, and we were all on the same page, that the landscape and the green was much more impactful and wanted than the fencing. So we're just back in one of those kind of chicken or the egg.
Sure.
Also, which master are we serving at the moment? So I'm fine either way. I think you all live here. I'm willing to kind of do whatever you think within the realm of reason. Sure. But we're going to wind up losing landscaping along there as a byproduct of extending that fence line.
You're talking about the fence to the north, delineating the property lines?
Yes. If we go back to we had a photo somewhere. Right,
Yeah,
where
it's
it
in my
showed-
hands.
Oh, you got it? I'm sorry, Scott. That's kind of where the thought is right now. It looks like we just have to bring it up a little bit more to get it to the front of the neighbor's house.
Yeah, I think if the commission feels that's warranted, we can certainly look at extending it. My only concern is as you go east here, the drive aisle compared to the property line is at an angle, so you're actually kind of coming in and slowly getting closer and closer. That's why there's a kind of a change of materials for the landscaping
Okay.
at a certain point. So we normally want to make it look pretty. So there might have to be landscape switch outs if there's a fence there that doesn't allow it to grow as tall as it needs to be at maturity. That's just staff's concern in general, but I think if warranted, that can be accommodated with the fencing.
I'm curious what Mr. Dare's feeling on that is. Could you come to the podium and address that, sir?
Should I bring my picture? I'm very house proud. Yeah, I like the idea of the fence meeting at the front of the house. That's what we're saying, right?
Correct.
I think it'd give more privacy to the people in the house, too. So
Okay, thank you.
I vote in favor.
So the downside of that, again, from staff, is that it would prevent future landscaping like trees or something long-term.
So there's landscaping already proposed there, and when you put a fence there, you kind of remove a little bit of space for those to go to maturity, especially if it's a solid fence. So we'll just have to take another look at what plantings are there to see. I'm not a landscape architect, so I don't know off the top of my head. But if the fence is put there, we might have to look at changing out some of the materials.
Do they have a landscape plan? Am I missing?
Yes, it was providing their packet last time.
Yes,
We
I
did
thought it
not
was last
apply
month.
it because there's no
I didn't bring
revisions.
it
It
today.
is shown on the screen. It
got
is
it.
much smaller. But there are shrubs proposed there
Okay.
as a delineation. So
Okay. So,
I would say if we do put that condition on the approval, we would also place a condition on the landscape plan, switching out some of the landscaping to accommodate it.
okay.
That's all I'm saying.
And that, honestly, that condition is going to probably get the next one, because while we're talking about the viewpoint from Cass Avenue, the way the elevation changes, you know, we do a fence and it's a see-through, but at the end of the day, you can kind of climb up probably to the side, plus their setbacks are different, so I think he's kind of getting hodgepodge based on different elevations and different setbacks, and the goal is, yes, having right entitlements, but the right project that's going to last for decades. And I would almost delegate all of this authority to the development committee with the, or development team with the village board, saying, look, that's not really in our purview, but we explicitly want you to look at this item of what you think is best, because fencing something off so that we could say it's outdoor space, but it looks tacky and is effectively not going to be used, is not the goal, right? I'd rather have it shrubs and be open as opposed to the alternative.
Correct.
And if we're good with that, then
Yes,
you know, I think we just add that condition on it.
For code requirements, there's no requirement for it to be fenced in.
Okay.
There's no requirement for even some of the landscaping delineation. However, we prefer landscaping to make the product better in that area and for them to meet the minimum landscaping requirement for the whole property. We have a minimum for that.
Is that the minimum open space that they're talking?
Separate than open space. Open space, think of it as usable open space where you can actually go out and walk around, take your dog, that type of stuff.
And again, any fencing would not be closed fencing, it would be open fencing, so it's not something that, if you didn't have it, then pets wouldn't, it would make no difference.
What he's talking about along that northern boundary would be a closed fence. This front boundary would be an open fence. But to kind of both of your points, the only concern I have is the timeline through entitlement. So I'd love to empower staff in a directive of this is what we're looking for so we can keep moving forward without having to keep, you know, changing the landscape plans and those plans to come back as long as.
So when we place, if it's placed as a condition, we would not expect you to have revisions for this commission to come back to.
Okay.
And, all right, so Scott, just so I can make sure this
I ju-
part, oh,
I just want to, it's something to think about. Cass Avenue is a very heavily salted street in the winter for snow, and my worry for landscaping as opposed to a fence is that in the front, every year, it's going to get damaged and killed and dead pieces, and that's just,
is it high enough, though? Is the elevation high enough? Maybe you're thinking the salt truck throwing the salts?
right.
But would their landscape be high enough to avoid that based on the elevation here?
It's likely that salt wouldn't get up that high, but we usually recommend salt plants that can take salt in those areas where we expect heavy salt used.
Okay.
Usually around parking lots, perimeter parking lots, we usually say it needs to be salt tolerable, and that's something our landscape reviewer looks at. I don't know about the ones being shown tonight by the petitioner, so if we'll make sure that it's a salt tolerable plant if we go that route.
Okay, that was just my main
no, I
concern, because
appreciate that.
Cass being the main road, it
Right.
gets heavily salted.
Well, and my thought is like, again, I'm trying to avoid the hodgepodge. So if we're doing solid fencing basically towards the back, we come out to the neighbor. Then we're doing landscaping up to Cass, and then we have this see-through metal fence just for the east elevation. We've got 3 types of fencing or screening that isn't really coherent. And to me, you're already on the front of it. You know, you don't really need the fence on the front. I would actually forego, I'd rather see the landscaping and have staff be empowered to do it, because we're already making the accommodation for the neighbor, which I think is a plus for everyone. I don't think anyone, at least personally, I don't think anyone's like, hey, we really need that fence there because of the difference on the setbacks. I think that would actually make it look worse and less congruent. Is that the right architectural term? Yeah. It just, to me, that would, I'm all for empowering staff when it comes to that. In terms of the visitor parking, what I had in my notes was, the concern we had was Amazon trucks. And so I know we lose the lane heading southbound, but I guess I'm thinking, what happens if down the road we really have a bunch of, larger buildings come in, parking lots, anything like that? I guess there is the potential to go 2 lanes, but the thought for me isn't, and I understand as the owner why you're thinking, oh, okay, Unit 1A wants to have their girlfriend constantly over and she's just parking in the visitor parking, you don't want to enforce it. I'm not viewing that scenario. My scenario is Amazon is coming, they're making delivery in 12 units. I don't want that truck stopped on Cass before people are turning on Chicago, because now you're condensing it even before now Chicago Avenue. So I don't know, and they can't stop on the drive because there isn't the width, and you can't block the fire lane, right?
Yeah, technically, if it's labeled as a fire lane,
You can't stop
You can't stop even temporarily to drop off packages.
And so I don't know if it would make sense to even call it a loading zone, as you have 12 people on,
Yeah, this building doesn't meet the minimum requirement for a loading zone based on the total number of units.
Okay.
A product like Quincy Station meets that threshold. and
Sure.
That's why they have a loading zone in the rear. But
I guess that would be the only question. Mine isn't the guest. Mine is, show me on there where Amazon parks. Is it effective, that's it, Mr. Gatto, to me, that's going to be the question. And the number one thing I want to avoid is just that truck stopping on Cass Avenue, right?
I think that's a very good question. I think even if I designated parking spaces in the back for an Amazon delivery driver,
They won't go there.
they're not going to go there. I'm not a big Amazon person, but my household is, and they're just whipping those packages out of the van while they're driving by. So I think the concern is valid. I think the reality of the situation is, even if we do put something, because we're a rear-loaded parking lot, it's just going to be a tough thing to manage effectively and warrant to you guys that a third-party delivery service is going to abide by that. I think that's the concern point that I have in this scenario.
Okay. And that makes sense. So, UPS or someone where you have the same driver time and time again, that might be a different story. But Amazon, I know, delegates out so that...
anecdotally, we have the issue with a lot of the larger projects in the downtown. even when we put signs up, they don't usually abide by it, and they still just park out front.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, next project this happens, someone asks the same question, I don't want to say, well, you didn't do it here, so we're going to do the same thing they did up there, because now he's on that other edge of the core, right? So it's like, you're right there, you're going to get by, but I'm just trying to think how else, but okay, that's fine. The only other item that I know Commissioner Lynn brought up was and you showed the renderings, it was to block the grills. And I don't know if there was a preference. Remember you had said something, you didn't like the open look, so in case they have a grill,
You mean like on the patios?
Oh, on the patio railings?
Commissioner Peterson talked about how high, yeah. So my understanding, am I getting this right? You showed these two because the one on the right is meant to show if you couldn't see the grill, like what he was talking about.
It's an increased screening rather than just the rail system.
So it would still be the height. So plan on both of these being 42 inches, but the difference is which would you prefer, which one is preferred for the deck? You were originally saying have this, but then have a portion of it covered.
May I ask the petitioner a question?
Sure.
Are these for, if one is preferred, is that for every single balcony shown, or just the front facade?
I thought east
Yes.
facing elevation.
So if I was going to be uniform throughout, and that's just the way I was thinking, but now that you've kind of brought that up, I would be open. I really don't like the slatted look and the slatted install.
Right
I
side.
think there's a lot of fail points on those. It's a concern point that I have. But I think if we minimize it and do it on the east elevation, it would increase the screening. But in addition to that, these are recessed balconies. They're not hang-on balconies or extended out balconies. So you're already going to have some version of screening where they're going to feel like indoor or interior, balconies. I think if there's that large of a concern on it, I'd be comfortable changing the front facade to something more along the lines of the right picture, which is more of a slatted screened look. But I prefer to keep the rest of the building at a vertical rail system like we have on the left.
Yeah, similar to my critiques of the facade, like as a whole, it would be nice to have it just cohesive, like so that if we're going for a slightly modern, to have it throughout, or if we're going for a more traditional look, then throughout. I'd almost be willing to forego like hiding the grill type of idea. But I would just like a nice looking elevation as a whole. So it's hard for me to judge exactly from these two photos. I thank you for trying to accommodate that. I do like that is something of your design I like, is that you have nice sized balconies. Like the one in the back corner is 10 by 12, which is a nice size. The other one is 7 foot by 10 foot. So they're better than, just as you said, like the tack on ones that a lot of kind of apartment buildings have. Yeah, again, I would say just maybe be careful about the exterior treatment of the building as a whole. Like, so I'll just leave it at that. And the slatted does look kind of nice, but I don't know about the fail points, as you were saying. I just like it to all tie in, so.
Yeah, and just to reiterate kind of who we are as a group, we don't really sell any of our buildings. I sold the first asset that I've ever bought last year after 12 years. So we're long-term holders here, so maintenance and upkeep is a very large concern of ours. Right. So I'm focused on it just as much as you are, because I'm going to have to go out there and fix it if it fails. So I don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So.
Appreciate the honesty. I would agree. I get that. I don't have any other questions. Those are the big things. It's probably just delegating the design, or at least calling to attention from the village board, kind of that 3 different fence line screening. And my view would be landscape, go to the hard fence to accommodate the neighbor, unless someone says, hey, when we see the renderings, this would actually look really bad. But my thought process is that I think would look better, given all the other things we're juggling on this site.
Okay, but let's continue with this balcony. Do we want the entire building? Do we want the east side, or do we care Do we think there should be more screening there on the east side with the slatting type? Or do we want to even recommend on this?
It sounded like from Commissioner Lin that he'd rather have cohesiveness than the slatted
I hear that.
covering on the east side.
I'd rather have the same
The same balconies
all the way
throughout.
around, yeah.
Right.
So we can go with either option. I don't think a condition needs to be placed if we're not requiring the slatting. So
Yeah. I personally, in being able to see through, I think is fine, and I do understand Commissioner Lin's concern here is that the windows, at least that were shown on the revisions, appear to be more traditional, and then it kind of is opposing the modern view, right? So I think cohesive, I mean, again, now it's not getting far, but I'm thinking if they were black casement windows, that's what you're thinking
That's
in your
what I
head,
want.
black metal
Yeah.
casement windows open up, even if it's on, but here's my question, even if it was one side, would that be preferred if it's not on all sides?
The windows?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. I'd like to have it cohesive, like I said.
The whole building.
Throughout. Just as Commissioner Simpson had mentioned, yes, he picked up on the fact that I would personally prefer like black casement windows, like around your building, casement and picture windows and whatnot. But, I mean, again, I feel like I'm overstepping my bounds as a commissioner, but
I'm not opposed to black windows.
thank you.
That doesn't bother me at all. The only problem with the black windows is the lead time, but it seems like the supply chain's working again, so unless something else happens to where we're, 14 weeks out for windows, then yes, I would always prefer to go with the black windows.
Okay, so I think we're in agreement then that cohesion is a higher priority than either the slatting or the vertical.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Thomas, your turn.
No, based on the same around the cohesiveness around it, I agreed. As long as the neighbor is happy with the fencing, and that I agree with that. And with everything else we talked about last time, I'm good.
Okay. Commissioner Peterson.
This is my neighborhood, and I think the building as presented will be perfect there.
Thank you.
I don't necessarily agree with the fencing. I'd rather have landscaping. But in the front, I'd rather have, but that's just personal, So whichever way it goes, like I say, I've been trying to think, like, what would I really want there? And besides more food, I think this is going to be very attractive, and it's going to fill that corner out, and I can't wait to see it done.
Thank you very much.
Okay, my turn. First of all, let me show my ignorance. Looking at your floor plans, I've looked and looked and looked, and I've tried to figure out, surely there are laundry facilities in each unit.
Yeah,
I just can't figure out
Yeah,
where they would be.
We'll fit those in. So right now, the exterior elements of the building are locked in through this entire thing. We'll rework those interior floor
Okay,
plans.
good. So it's not me.
No, and there's like a 3-tier process in doing those floor plans. Everybody gets involved. So we will have laundry internal to the unit, either stackers, full-size stackers, or side-by-sides.
Okay, my comment on UPS, Amazon, mail, people moving in and out of the building, that's all going to be done right there in the north side of the building where that entrance is. That's where people are going to stop.
Yeah.
And that would just be the reality.
And those are heavily scheduled processes too. So there'll be times that they have to move in and out. So we'll work through those and manage it. So it's not as dramatic of an impact, not only on the traffic, but also our own tenants and residents inside the building.
Okay, thank you. And in general, this is a very difficult property
I think that's even bigger.
for all the above reasons, access and its shape, and that's why it's been sitting empty for more than 15 years. I'm sensitive to what you're saying about a 3-story apartment building, but again, if this were on Grant, I don't think we would be supportive. But this is on Cass Avenue, it's in the, outer inner downtown, and I think that apartments are appropriate there. So, it's a tough squeeze, but I'm supportive of it.
Chairman?
Yeah, sure.
Before
Any
we
more
move-
comments here before I?
Before we move on
Yeah.
a motion, one item that Commissioner Lynn referenced in the front that I would be supportive of as well is putting a condition that the underlayment of the balcony?
If to somehow obscure the exposed floor joists on the underside of the balconies.
Like on the second and third floors?
Yeah, like
Right,
the
so
the
it's-
underside.
So people
Driving
driving
on
by,
Cass, you're
looking
not
up and
looking
seeing the bottom,
underneath.
the underside of the balconies.
Yeah, to not easily see, like, the exposed floor joists.
Would it be enough to color match the bottom of it with whatever the surrounding material is in a paint fashion?
No.
Or do you want a physical application?
I'm thinking a physical application.
Okay.
Now, I understand that if this is, if it's what I'm thinking of, what type of flooring is in those balconies?
It'll probably be Trex.
Right, that's what I was
Or
thinking.
some version of Trex.
Right, so water's going through it, so I understand, but, so maybe Trex the underside, or you would talk to your architect about, like, how to detail that, but I would rather not see the exposed floor joist at 16 on center, underneath.
There's a couple different ways we can do that, because if the goal is to screen the bottom, it may be just as cost effective and nice for the tenants to have a lightweight concrete up there. I don't know the floor load on that and what we would have to do structurally to get that to work.
But then it's catching water, isn't it, from the top?
Yeah, but you'd have to pitch it out.
I'll let you and your architect detail that.
So on that, since there are a couple different ways, can we defer to staff on that solution?
All I'm saying is to obscure it. I'm not saying how to.
Okay. Fair enough.
Right, and actually, maybe I'll go back on what I said a minute ago, was like, yeah, for the balconies, yeah, if you could obscure them, like, some aesthetic screening. I'm not saying to do exactly that one that you had shown, but I would prefer that, so.
If I can, I think at the staff level, we prefer not to be placed as a condition.
Okay.
Since I don't have somebody from the building department present to talk about those standards. So if it is placed as a condition of any kind, it should be probably phrased in a way that's if possible. Just because I don't have that person here tonight.
I'll commit to obscuring the bottom of it. So whether it's a condition or not, we'll do it. And I would like to keep working in the town, so kind of got to follow up on that one.
Who would review, I mean, it would...
It's an outside reviewer that reviews a lot of the building plans. At the planning and zoning level, I look at elevations, landscaping, and the site.
So if he has to do concrete where it requires something, engineering load, something like that, that's getting sent out. But if he ends up
Right.
saying, hey, I'm going to do Trex or another idea that doesn't require it, that would go in front of you?
Correct.
I mean, I'm okay either way. I mean, you know what we're trying to accomplish, so if we're going to defer, if we put the condition, it goes to you. Do we have to put it in to make sure that you see the final product? Or, because the only concern is, does he get it by right if it passes as is, versus if we say, hey, the condition is that it goes back here just for review to ensure either it was obscured. Then
Oh, you're talking about the commission? Any condition placed at this point, we'd likely forward to the village board with the conditions placed.
Sure.
Without the revisions to the plans needed. So
Right.
you wouldn't have to come back I'll let the attorney jump in.
And so go into the ordinance.
Right.
If the village board agrees with the condition, and the condition would say, the applicant to ensure that the underside of the, I think it's the decks.
Sure.
Are,
Underlayment of the deck is either obscured or in some way done. I don't think it would create more, I just want
Otherwise
to make sure that it
improved as
comes.
determined by staff.
Correct. I just want to make sure that if he's committing to it already, and that's the concern he has, and that I understand why his concern is what it is.
Right.
I think if we just put it as a condition, he's already on board with it, at least it goes to him on that final item.
And to Scott's concern, you're not specifying a specific method of concealing it as long as it's something
Correct.
different than what's shown right
Because
now,
then
where it's not
because if we
exposed
say it
wood.
has to be Trex and he comes up with a better idea, then it has to come back to, no, that's not what, at least what I would agree with. I think as long as we know Scott's getting the final look and you kind of understand what his position is on it,
Yeah,
I don't think anyone wants to.
as long as it makes its way to the ordinance.
Can we do the same thing with the balcony railings?
Yes, but my understanding was the commission didn't have issues with the railings. What I'll say is, when we get to the motions, any conditions placed should be conditions on the major site plan approval item, not on the other items, as they're related to the elevations and site plan ultimately. So, and then when the commissioner the chair gets to that item, whoever motions, and we get to discussion, can make another motion to add the conditions. Correct?
Correct.
So that's when you'll have either the backing or not the backing from the rest of the commissioners for those.
Just which one,
Number 5.
that's what you do not want it attached to?
It would be attached
Oh,
to
it would
that.
be fine. Okay, that's what I was like, wait, when we go, got it. Okay.
Do we have to delineate those conditions when, okay,
With the motion.
so let's list them now.
Yeah, ask staff to.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Well, we should probably first, I can delineate the ones that we've talked about. So I've heard a condition to require a certain material for the patios, for the railings on the patios, or sorry, balconies. There was talk about a condition to extend the solid fence to the same setback as the north property, the house on the north property. Sorry, I don't remember the address.
304?
304?
Yeah,
Your address? 304?
306.
310.
310.
310.
310 is the,
There were discussions about changes to the landscaping, allowing the petitioner to install landscaping in lieu of the open fence surrounding the perimeter of the front and portions of the side property line. And I believe those were the ones I had listed.
And I think the last one, unless that was the first one, the first one, did you say was the material of the balcony?
Sorry, yes, that was,
Railing.
yes.
Yeah,
the railing.
Railing,
you're right. There was one on the railings and
And
you're
one
thinking
underneath.
that he didn't mean underlayment of the decks.
yes.
So
I was grouping that together, sorry.
so you've got underlayment of the decks, the railings itself, but that also goes to the cohesiveness of what he was talking about of traditional and modern as it relates to the windows and the balconies. Those are kind of the package deal. The landscape in lieu of the front fencing on the eastern elevation and then the east half of the north elevation.
Correct.
Then extending the solid fence further on the north elevation further east to match the front setback line of the property at
Avery
310
property.
Cass. And then that's it. That's all I have.
Got that.
And what was the change? It was from the last meeting on the balcony railings.
That's, I think, the preferences for cohesion over a certain type. So, but that's up for you guys to decide.
So Chair,
Okay.
No, the concern was just that the windows were small, right? So they enlarged the windows, but then the way the windows look now because of the double pane, it kind of conflicts with the modern look. And then we would have another conflict of these open rails with the slatted at a portion and kind of got hodgepodge. So his concern, or Commissioner Lynn, his viewpoint is, hey, make it more cohesive and let's stick to one. Applicant was okay with black windows. It's getting a little outside of our element, but to put the whole package together, at least for the village board and for staff to understand where our head's at, it seems like the applicant's in agreement on it, so all of these items are really just giving direction to let the board know, hey, we thought of this already, and we think you should move forward, because the applicant's supportive about it.
Yeah,
Save them
I just
time.
want to get the list there so the village board has it.
So I think at this point, we'll move to motions to consider the items. When we get to the fifth item for the major
Yeah.
site plan approval, we'll list out
All right,
conditions. And I don't know if we want to vote on each condition.
Well, that's up to the commissioners. I think we'll vote on 1 through 5, and then a separate motion to impose the conditions on number 5.
with the majors.
And, I mean,
Want to do 1, 4, and then do a separate on 5?
Yes,
And it's up to the board
You
of
know what I'm talking
directors.
about?
Yes or no.
Because 1, 4
No,
passed
yes, yes
unanimously
or
as
no.
it's written,
All we're doing is
just
recommending.
modify just the 1, and then we'll finish
fair
on
enough.
the zoning,
you'll what?
and then we'll finish on
Yeah.
you know what I'm
As a
saying? I'm
separate
just trying to
vote.
think,
well, we'll vote on each of 1 through 4 anyway.
So
before we
you're
get to
saying,
5.
on the motion to approve number 5, major site plan, it would include the following conditions, and then
Yes.
we'll list them?
yeah, but 1 and 4 pass as it's already written. Just,
Yeah.
All right. At this point, the chair is prepared to accept a motion to approve under public hearing PZC 016-2025, request from the petitioner, Campagno LLC, and the owner, 2 West Naperville Road, for the property at 306 North Cass, for the following. First, preliminary plan of subdivision to consolidate 5 lots into 1 lot.
Motion.
Have a motion to approve Peterson,
second Simpson?
second Simpson. Discussion on this, seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson votes yes. Commissioner Lynn?
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Chairperson Carmichael?
Yes. And second, zoning ordinance variance to the minimum front yard setback in the R4 General Residential District. I have a motion to approve.
Motion Simpson?
Motion Simpson,
Second.
second Peterson. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson votes yes. Chairperson Carmichael?
Yes. Third, zoning ordinance variance to the minimum lot area per dwelling unit in the R4 General Residence District. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion Simpson?
Motion Simpson,
Second. Second.
second Lynn. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson votes yes. Commissioner Lynn?
Yes. Yes.
And Chairperson Carmichael?
Yes. Fourth, zoning ordinance variance to the minimum outdoor open space in the R4 General Residence District. I have motion to approve.
Motion Simpson?
Motion Simpson,
Second.
second Lynn. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson votes yes. Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
And Chairperson Carmichael?
Yes. And fifth, major site plan approval. This would include the following conditions. First, the patio railings would be uniform all around the building. Second, that landscaping would be installed in lieu of fencing. Third, the solid fence on the north side of the property would be extended eastward to protect the house to the north. And fourth, the undersides of the balconies on the east side of the property would be camouflaged in such a way that to make them prettier.
Yeah.
There's a better way to say that.
Yeah, I was going to just say obscured,
Aesthetically
Okay,
pleasing.
to reduce or to obscure any,
the floor joist.
the floor joists, to obscure the floor joists. All right?
And there was the fifth,
I just had the
cohesiveness,
four.
right?
No,
John?
that's on floor.
That was number
Number
1.
4? Okay.
My only quibble with the shall install landscaping instead of the fencing condition, was that may? Were you still going to determine whether you're going to install fencing?
In the front?
In front,
I think-
or landscaping, or was that
I think that, yeah, that's what I think that's what we're trying to send back for the design element back with staff after Village goes through and sees it, because I just want to clarify a couple things. The building line extends not on the entire north elevation, only until the front setback line of the building on 310 Cass.
Yes, that was a separate item.
Yeah, we put a condition on, but it said on the north side. I just want to make sure that we get that right, that it's not the entire north side, it's stopping from, you go to the furthest western point on the north elevation and then stop at the beginning of 310, of the front of the building there, right? And then the second part, or the next part, when we were talking about landscaping in lieu of open fencing, that's what my understanding is we're going to give either the village board or come back on the design element with staff.
I think at this point, you should forward a recommendation either with or without the condition to the village board. I
Got it.
For them to recognize that as a item for them to review, I think as a condition that makes the most sense, so they have an idea of what we were looking at.
So you're saying we don't necessarily recommend landscaping or fencing?
I think that would be the condition, is you should pick one.
Take a recommendation.
Yeah.
And right now, the way the condition was worded, it was shall install landscaping instead of the fencing shown.
And then you said, is it shall or is it may?
Right. I just wanted to be clear. I wasn't sure if based on the discussion, whether that was something you were saying, if there's a preference amongst the commissioners. Jill, I don't know if you had a preference on that.
On which one?
In front of the building,
I did, but I think I'm the minority.
which was, you're okay with fencing?
I'd rather have the fencing, but
Then
I
make
will
it-
go with
Then make
what-
it may, so that they may do it, but it's not required. Because if we say shall, then it can't, it wouldn't be allowed to do the fencing. So it says may. If the village board wants to weigh in on it, they do. If they don't,
Okay
I don't
with that.
want to hold up where he has to go back and forth.
That's fine.
Okay, so second item, may install landscaping in lieu of fencing
goes tomorrow.
on the east side of the building. You copy that, John?
Sorry, Chair.
May install landscaping in lieu of fencing on the east side of the
On
building.
the east elevation, right.
Okay.
And the eastern portion of the north elevation, right? So once that solid fence ends on the north elevation, the rest of that going alongside what would be 310
Would be
to Cass
landscaping.
could also be landscaping, along with everything alongside Cass could be landscaping.
Correct.
That's, okay,
That's the condition, yeah.
okay.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second, and we've discussed it.
Yeah, and then I was mentioning about, I might be like also a minority in this, but I would like maybe the railings to be a bit more obscure to hide barbecue grills and whatever else is in the balcony, but I'm probably the only one that,
Okay, let's pause. Let's take a straw poll on that specific condition, I think, if that should be included or not.
okay.
And specifically, you're suggesting, again, that
Like,
the railings
yeah,
have obscuration of some sort.
of some sort, like to hide, like not necessarily, it doesn't have to be specifically this one that he has shown, but just something to obscure the barbecue grills and things that are inside.
He wants something more like that.
Correct.
Again,
but not that
I'm more
exact,
concerned
yes.
that it's the same all the way around the building.
Right, and have it all.
Whether it's, they have, I would think that individual tenants could put some personal screening of some kind if they felt the need
They make a
for
ton
that
of
privacy.
different things to block.
Okay, let's do a straw poll of if you're in favor of the condition Commissioner Lynn is suggesting. Just raise your hand.
Is they have screened?
To have screening on the front facade patios.
Like, I was actually thinking all the patios. but-
All the patios, sorry. I see
I'm the only one.
Commissioner Lynn's in the minority.
I'm a nay.
So it should not be included in the conditions.
All right,
Okay. Roll call, please.
thank you.
No, we
We
didn't.
need a motion and a second.
We had it. I thought we had it.
No,
I did not have one on the
read it
5th.
yet.
I think we were just reading the
Okay, for-
motion to approve number 5 with the conditions.
All right, so we've read the conditions. Do you want them read again? Then do I have a motion to approve major site plan approval
With the conditions.
with the
motion
conditions as
Simpson.
listed?
Motion Simpson.
Motion Simpson,
Yeah, second.
second Lynn. More discussion? Seeing none. Roll call.
Commissioner Thomas?
No.
No?
No.
No? Commissioner Peterson votes yes. Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Chairperson Carmichael?
Yes. There you have it, sir. Staff will
We
notify you.
have one more item for the rezoning under new business.
So we voted on the old business items, now we need a separate vote on the rezoning of the parcels.
That's right, okay, yep. We discussed both, 2 votes, okay. Under new business, first, public hearing, PZC 0162025, request from Campagno LLC and 2 Naperville Road LLC for the property at 306 North Cass. Zoning ordinance map amendment to rezone 3 of the 5 total parcels of the subject property from R3 Single Unit Residential District to R4 General Residential District, so that all parcels in the proposed development are uniformly zoned.
Does staff have to read this into the record, the finding of fact, since this is new business? We could just go right as
There
presented?
are no findings of fact for this one.
Okay,
Oh,
Yeah.
these are carryover. Got it. Sorry. Thank you.
okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Still move.
Oh.
Second, Simpson?
Motion Thomas, second Simpson. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson votes yes. Commissioner Lynn?
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
And Chairperson Carmichael?
Yes. Okay, now you have it, Mr. Gatto, and staff will notify you when
I'll just mention for anybody that's in the audience, the proposed date for this item at Village Board is February 19th, Village Board meeting as of now. If that changes, just keep an eye on the agenda.
Thank you very much.
certainly. Good luck. Good night, sir. Next item, public hearing, PZC 001-2026. A request from the Village of Westmont regarding zoning ordinance text amendments as follows. Zoning ordinance text amendments to Chapter 95 zoning of the Westmont Code of Ordinances for miscellaneous modifications to grammar and formatting, as well as amendments to definitions, use permissions, development standards, planning processes, and other zoning regulations. Staff, what say ye?
Thank you, Chair. As we mentioned when we updated the zoning ordinance in 2025 in August, we were gonna do maintenance text amendments 6 months after. So we're at that point now. We provided the text to the commission to look over. Many of the changes are just formatting and rewording. The actual code hasn't changed. I'm not going to go through each one because I don't think we need to unless the commission feels differently. I am going to highlight one of the items just so you understand because it is technically a little newer code.
It must be set.
So in the principal use section, section 6.04 and yeah, 6.04, we had this relates to specifically vehicles awaiting service and pickup and screening requirements for that, and then we also have a separate section for screening requirements for those automobile uses and vehicle uses, principal uses have screening by residential properties when they're adjacent to them. That code was somewhat integrated into the original comprehensive updates that we did. We had it in the parking code, but we did not have it explicitly listed under the supplemental regulations for this use. So we just highlighted it in that section. It is largely the same wording used in the parking requirements. It includes requirements for landscape screening or fencing or wall material used. You usually see this around car dealerships at the rear of their properties because they are adjacent to residential, or in service pickup areas for more heavy utilized vehicle work that's done on them in garages. That it would not apply to your normal oil change places or tire places where you don't usually leave a car overnight that's inoperable. So that's that section. We also made an error in the principal use section for an allowable use. Make sure I get the name right. So we neglected to have the indoor other participant entertainment as a permitted use in the M district. In the previous code, we listed those type of uses as recreational as a permitted use in that district. So we redid the definition and changed the title to be more encompassing of similar uses such as pickleball and the natatorium uses, swimming pools, gymnastics, that type of thing. So it's kind of transplanted now as a permitted use in that district. We have a few that are around Ty Warner that became non-conforming because of that code. So this would make them conforming again. Those are the two big ones that I just wanted to mention. A lot of the other ones, like I said, are just spelling errors and formatting errors that we needed to fix. I will also mention that moving forward, we plan to do maintenance text amendments yearly as we get more in tune with the code. We have not been through a permitting season with the comprehensive amendments we did, so it's very likely we'll have a host more next year than we have this year that are more specific. There are larger text amendments that will require more discussion. For example, if we update density requirements for zoning districts, that would be a separate discussion likely as its own item, not under maintenance text amendments. Additionally, things like updating lot coverage or anything that has substantial changes would not fall under maintenance, and that'd be a separate amendment from staff. So what we're discussing tonight with these maintenance pertain to just what was provided, and if that's in favor of the commission, or if the commission has tweaks before it gets to the village board for a final vote to be implemented in the code. Like I said, I can go through them if the commission wants me to, but I'm also here for questions. Thank you.
And thank you. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the commission on this agenda item? Seeing none, let's go Commissioner Lynn. Go.
Let me see. I've been approached by a couple different potential people in the community that were interested in doing ADUs, in talks with them, and even doing a sketch myself. I feel like there's almost too many restrictions with the ADUs, and I don't know if I don't know if there'll be many will come off the ground with it. And I could explain kind of the reasons why if you'd like.
I think that, with all due respect,
Sure.
value that opinion. I think the commission does and staff does, but for tonight's public hearing, it's really just to consider these cleanup items, which are grammar corrections and formatting errors as opposed to changing or considering changing the substance of any provision of the zoning ordinance. And I think what Scott mentioned is that's going to come in the future where things like lot coverage will be considered, things like ADU regulations can be considered, and other substantive changes. So I don't know that tonight, since we didn't really notice for discussion of substantive changes to ADUs or anything else, is the appropriate time for the discussion. But I think if you have suggestions, now's a great time to start sending those to staff or sitting down with staff and saying, here's my suggested edits to make ADUs, actually possible to build.
So,
They can be taken up at a later date.
as the village attorney stated already, but we basically have a running list in an Excel sheet of when we come across something that's not working well or how we want it to work, and we tackle them usually individually. When we had the comprehensive zoning amendments that we did, it was a chance basically to discuss the entire code. When we present text amendments moving forward, it's specific to what is listed in the public hearing, and we cannot go beyond that at this point without proper noticing requirements. So if you do have suggestions for other parts of the code, email it to me, Jamie Hoffman, or Adam, our other planner, and we will add it to our list. Doesn't mean we'll actually take action on it. We will basically ask for advisement from our staff if we want to move forward with any of that. It's no different than if we were having issues at the staff level from code enforcement officers saying, this code's not making sense to us, can you re-examine it? We would re-examine it, and then if they need changes, we would present those changes. So,
I think that's not, it sounds like those type of changes wouldn't necessarily be an annual thing, but that could be almost any time in the
that
year.
could be, yeah. So what some of those larger standalone items we would take separately, so we can inform the public with the noticing that's more specific.
Mm-hmm.
So we can tailor it a bit.
Okay, and I would not need to, that could be something that where I don't have to, as a resident, I don't have to apply for an adjustment or a variance, like.
What so if you feel strongly, you can do it like that, as any resident can for text amendments. But if the commissioners task us with looking at something, we'll look at it, we'll discuss it internally, and if we feel it's warranted to be a text amendment, at some point we will try to make that a text amendment and move forward with our suggested language.
Sure.
That's generally how it operates. We do have to work within our scope and our staff through our channels to make those amendments. So some of the larger items we do take to CDC, for example. So I will mention like lot coverage we took to CDC last week, 2 weeks ago, for a discussion there for suggested changes. We did not present language or anything. We were just looking for the blessing to move forward with examining lot coverage. So,
Okay,
but yes.
thank you. Should I discuss any of this, or should we just?
I would wait. I wouldn't discuss anything that does not pertain to the language presented here.
Okay,
If you have suggested edits to the language presented, that'd be for discussion tonight.
okay. So.
Any other discussion?
Nope. I trust staffs.
It wasn't an unpleasant read, but boy, there was a lot of detail to go through. So under PCC 0012026, this request from the village regarding zone ordinance text amendments to Chapter 95 zoning for these miscellaneous modifications to grammar, formatting, amendments to definitions, use permissions, development standards, planning processes, and other zoning regulations. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second,
Motion
Simpson.
Thomas, second Simpson. Further discussion?
Just as a discussion, With these like typos and things, I didn't look at my Westmont email, but were those shown on the email? Like what?
Correct.
They were.
Yeah, so you should have got in your packet on, there's two attachments. One shows the strike-throughs and additions, and the other one just shows the language blank. So it's readable. So we always provide that for text amendments, even if it's a text amendment from the petitioner.
Thank you.
Yes, roll call, please.
Commissioner Lynn,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes?
Commissioner Peterson votes yes, and Chairperson Carmichael.
Yes. Okay, staff, we corrected Chapter 95 for you. Do you have anything else?
If you want to move to miscellaneous, or first open forum, then miscellaneous, then I'll have
Well, okay, under open forum, I see no one from the public, so we can move right to miscellaneous. First, general updates. Our next meeting will be a week from tonight at 6 o'clock, a regular meeting. And Scott, what did you have to add?
Yes, we will have at least 2 items for that meeting, voting items. So if you are unable to attend, please let me or Jamie Hoffman know in advance. You can call us or email us, whichever. We are also looking at special meetings in the future for this first quarter. We have some large projects we anticipate a larger audience for. So we try to space those out a bit. So we can have them here at the village without having to find a separate building to go to.
Okay. And Commissioner Donahue should be here at the next meeting. And it looks like we should have another commissioner, if not at the next meeting, in the March meeting. So we'll get back up to full strength.
And I will just add, once we are fully staffed with commissioners, we will likely have formal training from an outside consultant come in for, we haven't done that with my newer commissioners. You're expected to be at that just like any normal meeting, and it's to basically learns the ins and outs of the approvals, entitlements you go through, what questions you can ask, that type of stuff. We usually do it through APA. The American Planning Association has their team. They go around village to village to do that. I don't know if that'd be an executive session or just done generally. I'm hearing it's not an executive session. So just keep an eye out. That helps with a lot of our cases moving forward. So keep an eye out for that.
But still, I think that during any training session, it would be very helpful to have the village attorney here to, in case we have any other specific questions in a legal term.
Yes.
You're just trying to help my billing hours.
I will also just lastly mention, if it comes up, we have submitted out for RFP the comprehensive plan update for it's usually a 2-year project for the comprehensive plan. We are currently reviewing, and we've gotten quite a bit of RFPs. We got, I think it was 7 to review, and then we'll be interviewing soon enough. So.
In other words, there's no end to this. Chair would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion Simpson.
Motion Simpson.
Second.
Second Thomas. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This meeting is adjourned.